Taoiseach, any talk of economic recovery becomes rendered meaningless if the cost of living skyrockets, as it is for ordinary working people. The amount of tax relief you gave them in the budget was miserable for the average worker, against a background of between 500 and €1,000 in increased energy costs for many households, disproportionately hitting the less well-off. Waste charge bills going up, private operators, profit gouging, TV packages going up, and of course the carbon tax loaded on top of that, right? And rents continuing to rise. So what are you going to do? By the way, profits have gone through the absolute roof during this period in this country, exponentially increasing, but the cost of any recovery being wiped away by inflation and profit gouging by state actors and by private actors through taxes or through price increases. What are you going to do? Doesn't it mean and justify what we've called for a long time, rent controls, actual controls on the rent, abandoning plans to increase carbon taxes and actually doing something to reduce energy prices, and controlling, in fact abolishing, in my opinion, things like property tax, but at least ensuring people aren't hit with it, or things like waste charge increases by private companies?
We have indeed, and I just, first of all, Deputy Lahart had put down this question with other deputies, somewhat taken through the chair at the intolerance of facilitating him to ask a question by some deputies in the House who have contributed already there this morning. And I think that I just find it extraordinary. And as someone who was involved in Dáil reform, as somebody, well, no, sorry,
that's not on a point of order. You resume your seat. We have equal entitlement to that time allocation. Yeah, would you resume your seat? Normally there's 1.5 minute or 1 minute restriction on the question, so everybody
there you go again. It's wasting time now.
And the teacher gets time to reply.
I just wanted to put my views of what I witnessed on the record, which I'm entitled to do as a member of the House. There you go, your people. The person is an elected representative of the people to Dáil Éireann. His first interjection today, and you were shouting and running in an intolerant way. In any event, what I want to respond to the Deputy's point, I think he's made a very fair point in terms of the degree to which the capital city, and indeed cities in general across the country, have suffered as a result of COVID-19 and the pandemic, in terms of the impact on events, hospitality and tourism, because COVID has had a devastating impact on all of those sectors and on aviation as well. Now, as we reopen society and as we reopen the economy, aviation is coming back to some degree, but nowhere near the numbers of last year. So the point you're raising, I think, does raise other issues that we've got to look at other sectors as well that can bring life back to the city centre. Now, we have reopened. Cases are still very high. Vaccination has changed the nature of the situation dramatically, and vaccination has been a key game changer in terms of enabling us to reopen to the degree that we have reopened, while facilitating hospitality, events and more tourist-related activities. And in terms of the future meetings of this committee, I think the point is a very valid one in terms of what further steps can we take to support the economy of the city, of this city, indeed other cities and urban centres that have suffered most because of this. In terms of the Mercosur deal, I've been consistent in saying that it's not reconcilable with the climate objectives of the European Union. And I've said that publicly, so I'm surprised the Deputy posed the question. I made it very clear. I don't agree with your broader opposition to trade deals. So, for example, I think CETA, the Canadian trade deal, has proven to be an exceptional deal in terms of small to medium-sized companies in Ireland growing jobs and growing their exports to Canada. The investor clause issue was dealt with, yet your party seems very opposed to that, and I think that misses the point in terms of enterprise. And in terms of Mercosur, we've been very consistent on that, and I've made that point at European Council meetings in terms of deforestation and so forth. And I've already dealt with the issue around rent controls earlier, in terms of the Deputy Murphy's points, again, Deputy Barry raised similar issues, but I accept 2.7 degrees is catastrophic. That's why we need to do action. But all I get here is an attempt. I mean, my view is your perspective is that you want to take down the world order as it is to solve climate action. That's what you want to do. I don't. No. I don't think. I think Ireland is not a capitalist state in your pure definition. No, it's not. The state intervention in Irish economic activity is enormous. But the view, anyway, you're not going to solve climate change by trying to take it down every day of every week when governments meeting together collectively is a positive thing. I mean, there are positives in COP26. There are positives in Paris. People elect different leaders who do different things. To pull everybody together in itself is an achievement. And to try and get progress, we should try and will it on. Instead, what you are doing, Deputy, is stoking cynicism day in and day out, which I do not think will advance climate change one iota. You just see this as another theatre to advance your fundamentalism and your ideological perspective.
Are about to come down now on this theatre. Thank you. We need to move to statements on the